Thank you for joining us for this episode of CNTV. I'm Brad Clonch.
And I'm Quinn Tran. Chickasaw health officials say now is the time to get the flu vaccine. Flu prevention is important this season. Both the flu and COVID-19 are respiratory illnesses that are contagious. Here's more from Dr. John Kruger on COVID-19 versus the flu.
We compare this virus side by side using the data that we have available to date. The death rate with COVID-19 is 25 times more lethal than the seasonal flu in 1 to 19-year-olds. Now, that sounds really bad, but keep in mind, we would only expect that rate to be about 1 per 1,000 people. But it's not zero, and the seasonal flu doesn't tend to kill people in that age group very frequently. It happens, but it's quite rare. It's 15 times more lethal in the 20 to 49-year-old age group, and the rate there is about 3 per 1,000. 22 times more lethal than the flu in the 50 to 59-year-old age group, with an absolute death rate of up to 1.3%. So that's 13 people per 1,000. In the 60-plus age group, though, is where you really get into it. Flu, typically around 8 per 1,000 in that group during a bad flu season. COVID-19, 60 per 1,000. So I think it's, even though that's like 7.5 times the lethality of seasonal influenza. And one thing about humans that we often do is we overestimate the odds of unlikely or rare events. So this is something that I study a lot in my career because I study probabilities and safety. So safety and risk science and safety science is all about trying to understand risk and how to mitigate against risk. We tend to overestimate rare events for risk, but we underestimate common events from a risk perspective. And so, if you ask people, well, what's the risk that you're going to get COVID? Well, probably not that high. It's actually significantly higher, frankly, than your risk typically of getting the flu or other illnesses like that. If you had COVID plus the flu, and we have flu surges, we know we get up very close in this state sometimes just with the regular seasonal flu to filling up all those hospital beds. Our system simply can't take the strain of flu plus COVID hitting us in October through January, February, March. So the point being is that that's why we're pushing so hard right now to try to flatten the curve. I know that was an old thing we used, but really we've got to flatten the surge that we've had in COVID cases now so that we'll be ready to go by the time flu season hits.
Health officials encourage everyone aged 6 months and older to get the flu vaccine every year.
Look for the latest on flu vaccination and testing information, as well as COVID-19 related news on Chickasaw.net. The Chickasaw Nation annual meeting and festival will be held virtually this year because of the ongoing pandemic. A virtual gathering of our people will begin on September 26th with a series of events, programs, and cultural demonstrations online. The State of the Nation address with Governor Bill Anatubby is set for October 3rd. Visit annualmeeting.chickasaw.net and follow the tribe's social media platforms to see activities throughout Festival Week. And look for highlights next month here on CNTV. Artists participating in the Artesian Online Art Market say this virtual experience was a success. This was a great way to showcase the work of artists and for visitors to purchase art pieces. A similar virtual platform is planned for CSAM, the Southeastern Art Show and Market. We'll share more details in the coming weeks.
Earlier this year, we visited with Chickasaw artist Mike Larson and his wife Martha. This is footage of them before the pandemic. They had a chance to view the latest portraits of elders added to the collection at the Chickasaw Cultural Center. Mike Larson painted these beautiful portraits. The Chickasaw artist is now featured in a new exhibition at the Goddard Center in Ardmore, Oklahoma. His pieces will be on display through October. Visit goddardcenter.org to learn more. We always enjoy celebrating the artwork of Mike Larson. He's recognized often for his talents. He's an inductee of both the Oklahoma Hall of Fame and the Chickasaw Hall of Fame.
Speaking of the Chickasaw Hall of Fame, it's time for us to feature another individual, Ron Parker. He's one of 5 people inducted into this year's Chickasaw Hall of Fame.
I think his legacy belongs to the people. It belongs to the families that he served, the grandmothers, the grandbabies, the children. They all know him. They still remember him, and that legacy won't go away.
Born in Ardmore, Oklahoma, Ron Parker spent 4 years in the U.S. Marine Corps, worked in the apparel business, and attended school at both OU and Murray State. In 1991, he found his calling with the Chickasaw Nation, first being elected as a Chickasaw Nation judge and then a tribal legislator in 1992. Returning to public service, Mr. Parker became a community advocate for the Ardmore area and later served as area director.
If you ask, what would he do for the citizens, it would be a lot shorter answer if you said, what would he not do?
Mr. Parker was a leader in starting the Chickasaw Nation Reentry Program, a service designed to assist previously incarcerated Chickasaws in obtaining skills and employment to successfully transition back into the community. He faithfully led this program from 2007 to 2017.
He's got such a big heart, and if somebody has a hard time or a hard life, I think he sees it as his role to show them that it can be better.
I think that the Chickasaw Nation embodies, with our core values and mission and vision. I think he's taken that out into the Ardmore area and shown them what it's actually like to be a representative of the Chickasaw Nation and help so many people.
Congratulations to him and the other inductees. We'll feature another honoree in the next episode of CNTV.
Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you next time.